Okay. First thing that they are trying to do here is tell you what a literal equation is. It's an equation that's got two or more variables in it. And so that's relating one variable to another variable. There's no way to just solve it for a single number because depending on whether one variable changes value, the other one will change value as well. Okay, and this is going to be very common that moving forward you're going to be dealing with multiple variable equations. Okay, so what the skill is here is that we're trying to rewrite the order of this so that whatever it is that we're missing is by itself on one side of the equal sign. And you can plug in the numbers that you do know and simplify down one side and get your answer. So this is the setup. This equation, 10x plus 5y equals 80, where they're defining the variables here. X is the number of pizzas, and y is the number of sandwiches. Pizzas cost $10, sandwiches cost 5, and that's why they have those amounts in there. Models the problem that we didn't do that was in the solve it problem, okay? How many sandwiches can you buy if you buy 3 pizzas or 6 pizzas? Okay, so essentially what you need to do here is write this equation down and we're going to solve it for y because what they're telling us is we're going to give you a number, a value for the amount of pizza. So what you're missing is the y values. And so let's isolate that. How do you isolate the y here? Well, everything that's not these 5 y's, we need to get to the other side. So we're going to subtract 10x from that side and that side. Okay? And then what do we need to do? Well, we've got 5 y's right now, and we don't want 5 of them. We just want 1. So we're going to divide by 5 from both sides. And everything has to get divided by 5. So you see that gets divided by 5, so does that. Now you're down to y. That's awesome because now when we say if x is the number of pizzas and we get 3 pizzas, we can just put a 3 in here and solve it and see what we get. Watch what that looks like. Okay? We're going to do it twice, and that's part of the reason why it makes it so easy to first rewrite it. And that's what this says right here. Why should you write it? Because then you only have to isolate y once instead of doing it multiple times. If you didn't do that first and you were plugging numbers in, you'd have to do it again and again every time you checked a different number of pizzas. Okay, so we isolate the variable first, and then we plug in 3 for x, and it solves to 10. And then we plug in 6 for x, and it solves to 4. So if you buy 3 pizzas, you can buy 10 sandwiches. If you buy 6 pizzas, you can buy 4 sandwiches. And don't get too caught up on, don't get too overwhelmed by this. Essentially, what you're just trying to do is follow the same rules that you know for getting something by itself. And in this case, we're getting y by itself. And we'll often tell you what we want you to isolate, so you don't need to guess for it. Okay? But anyway, let's try I got a problem and see if these make sense to you. Okay. Oops. And here's the problem. Solve the equation 4 equals 2m minus 5n for m. So you need to get everything off of the side that's got the m on it except for the m's, and then you divide by the coefficient. Once you do that, you're going to plug in the numbers n equals -2 and check what m is worth from your equation, then plug in n is equal to 0, and then find out again, and then n is 2. And while you could do that before isolating m, the goal is to isolate m first. That's what we're expecting you to do, so do that, okay? And the second one says, solve problem 1 by substituting x equals 3 and x equals 6, then solving for y. And see if it's more work to plug in 3 for x and then solve it out for y, and then plug in 6 for x and then solve it out, or if it's easier doing this. They want you to see why it's easier, so try those. All right, so when you rewrite literal equations, you may have to divide by a variable or some variable expression. And when you do this, we're going to assume that that expression is not equal to 0 because you're not allowed to divide by 0. That's a mathematical rule. Okay? So you might see a statement that says this cannot equal 0, and often when you do that, it's because you're going to be dividing by that number, and you're not allowed to divide by 0 in math. It gives you funny results that are not true. Anyway, what equation do you get when you solve this for x. Well, x is there twice. How can we do that? Well, this is really a times x minus b times x. So I wonder if we could get the x out of there somehow. And in fact, you can. What you're going to do is kind of reverse distributive property it, and you're going to say, I need to pull x out of both of these, and that will leave you, if you divided x out and sat it out front, with a minus b inside. You can check that to see that, look, x times a, ax. X times negative b, negative bx. But now what you've done is you said x times the quantity a minus b, and since you want to get that alone, we don't want x to be multiplied by anything, so we divide by the same amount that it's being multiplied by. You divide by a minus b. Okay? And this is where it says a minus b can't be 0. We're just going to assume that that's true, that it's not equal to 0. Okay? And this is a little note over here. How can you solve these when literal equations contain only variables? You're just going to treat everything that's not the one you're solving for as if they're constants. You could think of these as being just numbers themselves. Okay? Because they are worth something, you just don't know what they are, but they're numbers. So you can treat them like numbers and use the same rules that you would apply on numbered problems for these variable-only problems. Okay? So when you do that, this is what you get. That, of course, cancels that out to leave you with x. So x is equal to c over a minus b. Okay? And let's see if you can do a got it problem here. All right. So you might be familiar with the idea of formulas. This has probably come up in middle school where you have a formula for finding, in this case, the perimeter of a rectangle or the circumference of a circle, etc. Okay? Where they define the variables over here, what each thing stands for. P is perimeter, L is length, W is width. But these are the formulas that you could, if you knew these measurements, you could just plug them in and solve out for something that's missing. Okay? And some use the same variables, but maybe the definitions are different. Like here you have A for all of them, area, that's fine. But somewhere else you might have C here, for example, is degrees Celsius, and here C is circumference. So that's kind of what they're talking about. Be careful that you don't assume what a variable is standing for, and you really have to define it, unless it's a well-established formula that everybody knows what C is in this particular formula, let's say. Okay, but you might be missing one particular piece of information, and that would be the one that you're going to isolate so that you can plug all the other numbers in and they're all on one side. Easy to simplify down to the answer. So let's try this. Okay, so what they're asking here is, what's the radius of a circle with a circumference of 64 feet? And they want you to round the answer to the nearest tenth and use this value as an approximation for pi. Well, which formula are we going to need to use? Okay, the formula that we'll use will be relating the radius to the circumference, and you can see that that's this right here. Okay, circumference of a circle compared to the radius. So this is the formula that we want to use, and therefore circumference equals 2 pi r, where r is the radius, and pi is a set number. Now, if they're asking us what is the radius, that's the value that we're going to isolate. We're isolating r. What's happening to r? It's being multiplied by 2 pi, so we're going to divide each side by 2 pi. That cancels it out to give you r. And then now we have the formula in relation to r all by itself. Okay, c divided by 2 pi. Now we can plug in a number. They say the circumference is 64, so we can plug that number in, and we divide 64 divided by 2 times 3.14. You probably want to use a calculator for this. And notice as soon as you get a number that's being rounded off, they use a wavy equals line. That means it's approximately equal to, but not exact. Okay, and they must have looked at their calculator and looked at the digit after the tens place and determined that this rounds to a 2. Okay? So the radius of the circle is about 10.2, and what's the units? Feet. If you know what the units are, your answer should include the units, always. So here's your got it problem. Let's see how you do with this. Okay, in the reading, there was another problem after this, but for the sake of time, since you had a quiz today, and because we really want you to get the just basic gist of this, we're leaving that off. So try these lesson check problems and see if you get the basic idea of what's going on. If you don't, please do schedule some time during office hours with me because you can get this, and it's all pretty straightforward, but you maybe need to talk it out with somebody before you really get it. Anyway, see if you get it by trying these kind of problems. Good luck.